Well, hello again. I've been looking at some of the usual suspects on the conspiracy theory channels. Just thought I'd throw in a few thoughts because I've still been pretty busy and haven't really had time to do very much really in the way of videos. So I thought I'd show I'm still alive. I'm still pitching some comments out there, of course, but I just thought I'd do a very quick video and throw in some comments on some stuff I'd seen recently on some of these channels. I was surprised to see that Linda Moulton Howe was talking with a couple of guys on her Earth Files channel. It's a well-known science fiction channel, you may have heard of it. And she was mentioning the Rendlesham Forest incident, and she actually mentioned the Cobra Mist project. And I'd never heard anyone mention Cobra Mist in relation to the Rendlesham Forest incident previously to me mentioning it in the video I did on the Rendlesham Forest incident. So I wonder if that's inspired these comments. But anyway, Linda tells us that she spoke to a physicist that worked on the project, and this physicist told her that. The Cobra Mist site was actually, you can see the big buildings on the surface, of course, with the big antennas for the Cobra Mist project, which was an over-the-horizon HF radar project run from Orford Ness in the UK on the east coast. Very, very close to Bentwaters and Woodbridge Air Force bases, in fact. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if very, very high levels of electromagnetic radiation from some sort of experiment that was going on there did actually cause the effects that had the Rendlesham Forest guys running around in the forest. But that's another story. Nothing whatsoever to do with dimensional travel or astral planing, yogic flying. It's just something that can happen with very high levels of radio frequency energy. Now, she was talking to a physicist, and he said apart from the buildings you can see on the surface, it goes down 4 levels below ground. This physicist told LMH. There's 4 levels below ground, and of course, it has to be underground because, if it's underground, it's secret. Creates intrigue, it's underground, it makes you curious. And the deeper underground it is, the more the more intriguing and the more secretive it is. In the case of Orford Ness, of course, this is absolute nonsense. None of the Cobra Mist installation was under the ground. In fact, if the Cobra Mist buildings are still there, they were used by the BBC World Service after they were vacated by the Cobra Mist project. And those buildings are, in fact, on stilts, about 10 or 15 feet high, I can't remember now, but the reason for that is, of course, that the area is prone to flooding, so there's certainly no underground facility there. But the funny thing about Linda Moulton Howe is she talks with enthusiasm, with gusto, about all this stuff, and she knows absolutely nothing about it. Everything she says is rubbish, absolute rubbish. I was listening to it and I thought, I'm actually blocked. I left a comment on her channel, because she said, what they were doing at Cobra Mist, it's never been explained. Well, you can Google Cobra Mist and you get a full explanation of it on Wikipedia. And I just left a link, to this thing saying, take a look at Wikipedia. You can read all about the Cobra Mist project. And the other thing that one of these clowns she had on her channel was saying was, oh yes, well at Orford Ness they developed this death ray, Tesla's death ray, and they actually developed the death ray was developed there. Well, there is an essence, like all good bullshit, there is often an essence of truth in there somewhere. And the essence of truth is that they did actually, I think it was during the Second World War, they did actually try to make a death ray. And they found, of course, that because of something called the inverse square law, the amount of energy you would actually need to produce to cause damage to an aircraft some distance away was they just couldn't do it. So they found that that they did try it. They had these beams of radio frequency energy going up at target aircraft to see if they could damage them, and of course they couldn't, because they couldn't generate enough energy. But what they noticed was they got really strong radio echoes from the aircraft. And one of the boffins there thought, well, that's quite interesting. So, okay, well, the death rays are, will abandon that. It's a waste of time. But we might be able to do something with these echoes that are bouncing off the target aircraft. So we, have a beam of our radio frequency energy, goes out to the aircraft, bounces off and comes back. That lets us know where that aircraft is. And that led to the development of radar. So no death ray, I'm afraid. No secret underground facility. Anyway, that was Linda Mountain Howe, one of my favourite science fiction channels. Not quite as funny as Project Camelot, of course. I was going to show a clip of I couldn't be bothered, but I might in a future video. I was going to show a clip of Kerry Cassidy saying, "Well, this is all I've got. This is the only way I pay the rent. So this is why I'm putting all these videos out. I'm not saying they're true or that I believe them, but I'm just putting them out there so you can make your own mind up. In other words, she and others are on this same slippery slope, are showing all this science fiction rubbish just for views. It's just for Google ads money, basically, on YouTube. So they're filling your heads, or they're filling the heads of the gullible with all this science fiction rubbish for cash. It's as simple as that. I quite enjoy Joe from the Carolinas channel, and if you haven't seen Joe from the Carolinas, check it out. Joe does, he was doing some really good stuff, and he was putting a lot more effort into it than I do, and his videos are quite well produced, and I quite enjoyed his videos. And I thought, so anyway, check out Joe from the Carolinas channel, because he does do a lot of good stuff on there, and he's he puts some good videos out, does Joe. But recently what he's been doing is interviewing people that really I don't think deserve airtime. One of them was Joseph Farrell. Now Joseph Farrell was he was on the Joe from the Carolinas channel, and now credit is credit. Well, I've forgotten the expression now. Credit due where credit's due, or something like that. Anyway, Joe did say to this whistleblower, not Joe Farrell, this other guy, Jason Rice, is it another secret space program guy? This doesn't mean that I'm believing everything you're saying, And I could tell actually that right at the beginning of that video, when he started interviewing Jason Rice, that there was a delay between Joe and Rice on their sort of live interview, because Joe said something, and about 2 seconds later, might have been slightly less than 2 seconds, Rice flinched. I just fell about laughing. I thought, yeah, here we go. Anyway, so Joe from the Carolinas, check his channel out. He does some good stuff, but he did interview Joseph Farrell. Now, something I thought was quite funny, and I fell about laughing at this, was that Joseph Farrell was falling about laughing, saying that, the Nazis never had a base in Antarctica. How would you power it, this, that, and the other? And I think I've made similar comments in the past myself on different videos. Of course, the Nazis never had a base in Antarctica. It's rubbish. But he thought that was hilarious, does Mr. Farrell. And I thought, well, that's just about as hilarious as your suggestion that there was an ancient cosmic war fought in our solar system, Mr. Farrell. To suggest that aliens would come here from light years away to fight a war in our solar system is more hilarious than considering that the Nazis might have actually had a base in Antarctica. It's just absolute nonsense, ridiculous twaddle. I mean, why travel light years to fight a war in another solar system? It just makes no sense whatsoever. And even if that was the case, which it wouldn't be, most of the planets in this solar system are pretty useless lumps of rock. There's only this one. If your spacecraft got shot up, assuming you could shoot a spacecraft up, of course, The only planet you could use, assuming you were sort of, critters like us, and they probably would be, that would be any use to you to fix your spacecraft would be Earth. The rest of them are just rocks. You wouldn't be able to land. You wouldn't be able to land on a lot of these outer planets. The gas giants, you can't land on those anyway. You can't land on the moons because they're just ice. To fix your spacecraft, or there's got an atmosphere of liquid methane and oceans of liquid methane. As soon as you sit down, you're going to go up in flames, aren't you? So it's all preposterous rubbish. So Joseph Farrell, waste of time. Put a line through Joseph Farrell, absolute nonsense. I was listening to this Jason Rice on Joe from the Carolinas channel, and I noticed that Joe was treading on eggshells because he said that he'd had a Skype interview with this guy for about 3 hours the day before, and he'd agreed not to make him look like a complete fool. But really, I think if you get to see this, Joe, I think you're on a slippery slope, mate. You're sort of edging towards the Project Camelot and the Linda Mountain Howe sort of area, where it might be good for business. I can see you're trying to work the channel up and make a few quid out of it, but airing people, and then a lot of these people do not deserve airtime. Really, I mean, they're filling the heads of the gullible with all kinds of bloody nonsense. It's not real world stuff at all. What else is there? Kerry Cassidy is strongly supporting this Captain Mark Richards, which is obviously stringing along with a lot of crap. There is no secret space program. Not a manned one, anyway. I mean, there's a secret space program with spy satellites. X-37B might be part of it. The Russians have probably got an equivalent of that. But there is no manned secret space program that's flying off around the solar system and even out of this solar system through interstellar space and engaging with aliens. That is beyond ridiculous. I couldn't bring myself to listen to everything that Rice had to say, but I think that's what he's saying, that he's been to another star system and he's killed thousands of aliens. And there was some other guy saying he'd autopsied thousands of aliens. This is all rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And I'll leave it there. I mean, I think I've ranted enough. I think I might even call this video something like Conspiracy Theorist Rant. I've lost my train of thought now. What I was going to finish? I was going to finish with something. What the hell was it? Oh crikey! Oh yeah, I'll leave you with this thought. Why do these conspiracy channels like LMH, Richard Dolan, Project Camelot, why have they blocked me? Ask yourself that. Now, my comments are not offensive. I leave links to things that would prove that what they're saying is an absolute load of rubbish. But that's the real world. Ask yourself why they don't want you to read those comments. And I suspect it's because they know that what they're doing is making money out of a lot of science fiction rubbish. Oh yeah, there was one other thing as well. I left a comment on LMH's channel. I don't know whether I was blocked then or not, but she's talking about the animal mutilations. Animal mutilations done by aliens. Well, I can't really imagine aliens flying light years across space to cut a section out of a cat in Kensington. Can you? Or lifting a cow's tail up and having a poke around in Kentucky or wherever they keep their cows in America. It's just nonsense. And, okay, there is evidence of cattle mutilations. Yeah, fair enough. But there is absolutely zero evidence of those mutilations being done by aliens. And if you think about it, only completely harmless, docile critters are ever mutilated. You have cows and cats and this sort of thing. You never ever see stories, or you never see or hear stories of dangerous animals being mutilated. So you never hear of lions being mutilated, tigers being mutilated, leopards, crocodiles, bears. Anything that can rip you to pieces doesn't get mutilated. Funny that, isn't it? It's only these completely docile critters that get mutilated. It's almost as though humans are doing it, and they don't want to put themselves in danger. Whereas aliens, of course, will be able to subdue any kind of animal. And the other thing, too, is that if an alien was going to do experiments on cattle and it wanted a couple of samples, all it would do is collect them and do whatever sort of work they were going to do in the lab up in space and, incinerate them, to blow the dust out into space. They're not gonna come down with their tools and sit around a cow mutilating it in the middle of a field. That is just ridiculous twaddle. It's beyond twaddle. And she won some sort of award for that rubbish, didn't she, LMH? Unbelievable. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Just a very quick video, as I was in a ranting mood and been very, very busy. I took a little bit of time out, kicked back with a bag of popcorn and a coffee, and I had a look at some of this conspiracy codswallop. And I just felt inclined to make some comments. So there we go. Righto. Well, maybe I'll catch you again. Thanks for watching.